No questions, no asides needed. First things first. I want to thank you guys for actually making it to our little session, engaging in our hobby and spending this time with me. This is, as I try to drive home, very, very appreciated on my part. We have been through many ups and downs and the various vicissitudes of the characters' lives. We have had our opportunity to steal away from the real world and dive into their moments, their foibles, their victories, their unknown states somewhere in between. And for the record, this is officially Soup City Sins Season 9, Episode 3. Call it a tribe. When we last left our coterie members, when we last left Dizzy and Hestia, they had arrived in the 4th floor condominium where they had most recently left the body of one Eddie in the care of Arsenio, and vicariously in the care of Lucio's sister and all but adoptive friend of the family, Faye and Stella, who also work and are employed as interns and volunteers at the Harris Varo shelter. Expecting unknown results, they arrive and find something completely off the beaten path. Arsenio, in a moment of leisure, enjoying a clearly high quality bit of smoke with Faye, the ashram tray sitting between them, his feet propped up on the small end table, his shirt untucked and undone, his normal blazer used to hide his various armaments nowhere in sight, the collar and top 2 buttons completely undone, his sleeves rolled up, and for the first time in knowing of him, even the night spent, the day spent in the hotel, motel, restroom, he's not wearing shoes. And you're not sure what you expected, whether it was cloven hooves or bulbous cartoon Flintstone-like digits. It was not a silk cashmere blend sock on each foot with a secured double-sewn toe in its place of a slightly lighter charcoal. And mid-smoke, having rolled a dubious of doobies, he looks towards the door. You can tell that even at leisure, his look toward the door and his arm resting over the chair is actually very close to the holster, which is only partially hidden by his blazer on the back of his chair. Oh, hey, how you all doing? Huh? I didn't expect you all to be here. That he places his feet off the table, hands the freshly lit doobie back to Faye and stands. And Faye, being in her apartment and being not scheduled to work and having made it to class on time for the first time in the last 3 weeks, stands up, her eyes bloodshot from the smoke and what's in the smoke. And, oh, hey, Miss Green, Dizzy, who's your friend? Pointing to Vivi and Melinda, who are in tow. So presented with the image of leisure and happenstance, where are we? When are we?
Well, assuming this is about the time that Dizzy's phone vibrates, she pulls it out of her pocket and looks at it and reads it again and reads it a 3rd time and looks at Hestia and says, "Fuck, I gotta go," and leaves.
What? I look at Vivi like, what's up with that?
I don't know, Chica, but I suppose I gotta go too. Hey, you were supposed to be doing something, I think. I don't know, but we'll talk. This is not what I expected. She turns around, trails off behind Dizzy as they make their way back down the 4 flights of stairs.
Dizzy will tell her that she can stay and help if she wants. This is something personal she needs to take care of. So,
that's the problem with you, my friend. Chica, you always try to do things by yourself and put yourself in very precarious, difficult situations. Making hard decisions by yourself is fine, but you shouldn't be alone when you do it. The Japanese got this idea of balance. Internal stress, external peace. External stress, internal peace. You need to practice it. So where are we going?
I'll tell you on the way. And then I guess we pile in our car and we, let me go back and read the text here real quick. And we head off to Northwestern.
And as you all pile into Vivi's vehicle and make your way actually not that far across town towards Northwestern, which is actually the location for the cardiac centers right there at Superior, Michigan, which is where you guys are headed, which is actually not that far from your present location across the street from the succubus. And while you all, Dizzy and Vivi, speed across all but bumper to bumper traffic with Arsenio and Hestia and Melinda, along with Faye, and it's clear that Stella is either at home in the back apportionment of the condo across the deck or in her room. What is taking place?
That was Vivi, a friend of Dizzy's. Sometimes she drives for the shelter. And this is Melinda, one of our newest volunteers. Looking at Arsenio, it's obvious you weren't expecting anybody. You're practically naked. Giving him the up and down raking of the eyeballs.
Oh, you're a little old school. This is nowhere near naked. This is just, this is just kind of just hanging out. Lucy went off radar and you all were busy, so I don't really have everybody's number, so I couldn't take care of the thing with your permission, but Lucy's gonna kill me, I think, maybe, possibly, I don't know, but
No.
I took care of it.
You took care of what? Wait a minute. She looks at Melinda for a minute. Just give me a minute. And she gets close to him. Now his tie he's not wearing his tie, right?
No, he's not.
She very gently wraps her fist in the front of his shirt. All 5 foot of her. And
what is Hestia's fashion IQ, her understanding of quality?
Oh, she's pretty good on that, because even though she grew up kind of on the middle class side of things, ever since she's been undead, she's gathered quite the collection of what is now probably priceless, like Balenciaga and some nicer pieces, because when they were new, they were cheap, and now they're expensive.
Okay, well, the moment that her fingers wrap into his shirt, which happens to be the same shirt he was wearing during their car crash, there is a momentary... What's Hestia's composure?
You Give me a second, I forgot to pull her sheet up, I just realized. Composure, she's got 3 dots in composure typically.
Oh, she is very well composed, but there's an inward sigh. It is literally the softest thread count she's ever held on a man's body. The shirt clearly would cost upwards of a week to maybe 3 of a normal person's salary, of the average person's salary. And the fact that there isn't a name tag or made by lets you know that not only is it exquisitely made, but it had been very much tailored to Arsenio.
So there is a moment of when she grabs into the shirt, just a pause, a sigh, and a little bit of an eye flutter. And refocusing her energy on what it was she was trying to do, pulls him gently by the shirt, because she doesn't want to ruin the shirt, into the room that she had gone with the girl from the night before.
I see. Memories unbound, soft touches, exchange glances, the permission. We don't have to check it. Of course, if you let me handle this, I'm sure that you would be just as happy. And as those thoughts dance through Hestia's mind as the door closes, Melinda, you are in a posh condo. It is in fact true a 4-story walk up, but as you get to the top of the 4th floor, you also realize to your left is an elevator, which you are sure, based on the fact that there's a key access, is a hidden elevator that the occupants could take up and down as they chose. It overlooks the succubus where you just were the night before. It has a view, a portion of a view of the Chicaago skyline. You can make out the Hancock, and there in the distance you can see the triangular shape of the Prudential, and of course looming over it all is the Sears Tower. You see the lake crashing just a little bit beyond, and if the condo was higher, you are sure your view would be even more immaculate. But as it stands, from the window just past the young redhead who was standing next to the gentleman Hestia made off with, there very much is the full ebb and flow of the succubus. You see the front line forming, and you see all of the people driving up, and there's been some vehicles, and there's been some clothing here to see and be seen.
Melinda looks at the outfit she is wearing, and she finds like a mirror, if she can. Just she doesn't go searching for a mirror, but she looks around and finds one. She will make an effort to just straighten up. Maybe make sure everything's buttoned correctly, and her collar is correct, and there's no wrinkles, and put her hair up.
As you're doing so, the redhead that is taking another toke of the very fat, almost slim line cigar rolled illicit herb makes her way over. Hi, Melinda. I'm Faye. Welcome to me and Stella's apartment. You missed the party last night, but hi. She extends her hand. She's dressed in baggy shorts, anklets, and a t-shirt that is clearly from some other person's wardrobe based on how it hangs and droops off one shoulder.
Hello. And Melinda will exchange them. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, cool. Miss Green said you're going to be working with the shelter. Are you already working with the shelter?
I started yesterday.
Oh, well, hey, you started on the wrong night. Otherwise, we would have invited you to the party. But yeah, I work there too. Me and Stella, we are technically volunteers. We technically interns. We get a few credit hours, but we do way more than you get credit hours for. Plus, unlike most other internships, we actually do get a small salary.
As you should, all laborers should be. What is the word?
Paid?
Reimburse is the word I was looking for. Yes.
Reimbursed? No, we get credit hours, and well, Stella gets to see her brother more often, so
You can't eat on credit hours.
Oh no, we got a good deal. We only pay $250 a piece for this whole place, and there's 4 bedrooms. There's a huge kitchen. Then there's an extra workspace / bedroom across the deck. Here, I'll show you around.
Oh, thank you.
And you all began the tour, and just like she stated, there are 4 bedrooms. She points to the door that Hestia went into. This is bedroom number 1. It's kind of like a guest bedroom. Everybody kind of uses it as their makeout spot. And she begins explaining the bedrooms. And when you walk into the second bedroom, which is the only one only one closest that is unused, this bedroom technically quantifies as a studio apartment. It is large enough that if you want it, you can put in a kitchenette. You can put in a little breakfast nook. You clearly, based on the size of the bed, can get in a full California king. And then she shows you the bathroom. The bathroom in this bedroom is large enough and has been separated out so that the commode is not in the same space as the shower. The powder room, which is the entryway into the area where the commode is, has a double sink. The shower itself is a full size. You can get easily 5 to 6 people in there, and nobody will be lacking for water. This apartment is on a scale exponentially of exponents times what a college student should be able to afford.
This place is amazing. How did you get it?
Oh, my cousin gave us a deal. Well, he's not really he's I don't know how they do it. He says that he's a cousin 3 times removed, but anyway, a friend of the family / relation hooked us up.
This place is incredible.
Yeah, he works for construction, and he does part times with a towing company. And I didn't know tow truck drivers made such good money. Especially being it's I never see him work, and he's never dirty, so you can't really tell that he does anything. I guess driving pays really well.
I have heard that certain drivers of trucks.
Well, yeah, but
as long as they're in the truck, so.
I guess that may be how it works. I never bothered to really ask him. I just kind of, I don't want to get caught up in his money, because when growing up, he would show up and, well, he didn't seem to be making as much money then. He's only 10 years older than me, maybe 15. And as Melinda and Faye make themselves at home in Faye's home, and Hestia and Arsenio speak behind closed doors, we turn our gaze towards Vivi and Dizzy as they pull into the parking lot at Northwestern Hospital. Now, Northwestern's downtown campus is as unlike most other hospitals as it can be, and is still clearly a hospital. They are not spread over a block and a half of space. They take up the northwestern and eastern corner of Superior, Michigan, and their northwestern corner at Superior, Michigan is only the upper floors of the building. And while the building connects with the other tower, it is a relatively small space. It's unbelievably small in terms of the amount of space they have compared to even the University of Illinois hospitals or the University of Illinois Chicaago campus down on just south of Roosevelt. But they are by far more prestigious. It's literally celebrity level medical staff. Visiting hours are as long as the patient can tolerate. When you all make your way into the lobby, you see the gray and darker gray uniform security officers at the information desk. You see little old ladies who look as if they spent the entirety of their lives rolling in the lap of luxury. They have their service animals with them, which is, in this young lady's case, a Yorkshire Terrier and his sister in her lap as she's feeding them by hand bits of mango. And if you were to hazard a guess, that scent and that look is actual steak that she has diced into small bite-sized squares, almost perfectly so. Now, Chica, I'm not sure why we're here. Is your mother, your father, your brother, or whoever this is, but they're very important to you. So remember to keep calm. Don't go off on anyone. Don't do the hoodoo thing. They have cameras everywhere. And with that, Vivi buttons her sweater, pulling it down over her hips, the hoodie that she's wearing underneath it, hiding the general shape and outline of her so that her clearly their firearm should sneak past notice.
All right, I know you've seen some shit since we've been associated with each other, but this is going to be fucking weird. I just want you to know that.
Weird is okay, I think. Lead the way. And she falls in like every good security specialist over Dizzy's right shoulder.
All right, Dizzy makes her way in, and I guess we need to go to the desk because I have no idea where he is at in the building. So,
good evening. How we doing?
Hey, I'm here to see Dizzy. If you could tell me what room.
Hang on 1 second. He starts click-clacking, 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 click-clacking. And yes, it literally is a click-clack because he's using both index fingers one at a time to type into the system. And as Dizzy watches, there's a frustration that grows over his face as you are sure that he's entering in the wrong password. Takes another attempt, and he gets in. He all but fist pumps the air. Dizzy, D-E-Z-I-K-C-H-Q?
So close. D-I-Z-E-K.
D-I-Z-E-K. And I have to ask your relationship to the patient
is my brother.
Well, at least he's not in intensive. Though, hang on, let me just. Oh, I'm sorry. He is in intensive. There can only be 2 guests in the room at a time. Is this your partner?
Sure.
Okay. Give me a second. I gotta call up, make sure that the partner is okay to. No, it's fine. She can go up without me. Just tell me the room number. I'll wait. Oh, well, okay. He takes a pen out of his pocket and jots down the number. Hands you a visitor's sticky note. You got to put that on your chest. You want me to do it for you? Make sure that it stays. They can sometimes fall off. Gotta rub them in good. And he mimes it with his palms rubbing together. Kind of got to put a little effort into it. I think they're heat activated, maybe. But anyway, yeah, you got to put this on.
No, that's good. I've been dealing with adhesives since literally kindergarten.
Okay, so it's a little hard to get to. They put the cardiac way up there in the tower. It's this hallway to that elevator right there. You see that elevator? I'm going to take that up to the 3rd floor. You're going to walk to your right when you get out. When you get out of the elevator, you're going to turn to your right and you're going to walk in that direction to the next bank of elevators. It's the only way to get to the tower. And you're going to go all the way to 17. And when you get out at 17, you can go straight. There's going to be a nurse's station there. And they'll tell you which pod he's in. Or you can just go past the nurse's station if nobody's there. And based on his room number, he's going to be on the left side of the floor looking out toward the lake. He's going to be at the A1 room. So if you follow the alphabet backwards to the A, he's going to be in that room there. He doesn't have a dual room, so he's going to be in a room by himself. So, you got the instructions?
Sure.
Okay. If you get lost, the orange phones are for guest services. I don't know if you look like you might not be old enough to understand. The little things on the wall, those are actual phones, not just a square in your pocket.
Okay.
So the orange ones, not the blue ones. The blue ones is if you get in trouble, you see something going down, someone doing something stupid, somebody trying to attack you, you use the blue ones. For other services, you use the orange one. Okay?
What about the red ones?
You shouldn't see any red ones. I think they pulled them off from 17. On the 3rd floor, you might see a red phone, but that one you don't want to use at all. That one dials directly out to the police, and yeah, we get sued, and then we gotta sue you, and it's a whole bag thing. Like if we call them accidentally too many times.
Got it.
Hey, Eddie, did they pull all of the red phones from 17? Yeah, they did that 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks already? Man, time just flying.
And I will leave the two of them talking to each other.
And as you head upstairs, there is a growing sense of dread. Hospitals smell like chemicals, though in truth, in most of the public spaces, they don't actually use chemicals. Well, not heavy-duty chemicals. It's a strangely disastrous mix of peroxide and alcohol that gets rid of most of the physical matter, most of the bacteria. And in most hospitals, because it is cheaper than the industrial, that's what they use in the spaces to make sure that all blood and physical matter is kept as safely away from the public as possible. The other thing that adds to that idea of it being chemicals is the fact that the temperature is set to just above annoyingly cold, meaning that it is always cooler because the temperature kills viruses as well, or at least aids in the death of viruses and bugs and what have you. When you make it to the room, Dale is wired as if he is the living embodiment of the lawnmower man. He has diodes and receptors and all sorts of things stuck to him. His face is clear. His glass is laying on the table immediately to his right. Your mother lightly dozing in the chair. She breathes deeply, and you can hear her very real passion for life. Her presence is filling the room, and it's clear that she was not in the expectation of any guests, because even here, buttoned up as she is, there's a personal formality that she keeps about herself, a strength and a drive to do that radiates out from her.
Hey.
The moment you say hey, she immediately snaps her eyes open, her head raises in that direct willingness to combat whoever it was, because it's clear that she heard you, but she didn't recognize the voice in her very light sleeping. Oh my God.
And as I'm sure it will be important, I made a rouse check there a minute ago to rouse the health or whatever, blush of health.
I did assume that's what you were doing. I probably should have asked, but I assumed that was the case.
I mean, I'm in a place full of medical professionals. It's probably a good idea.
Give me one quick second. My laptop is a little slow. She clears her throat, rising to her feet, and it's all. When you were a child, she always seemed to tower, to be larger than almost every space she inhabited. As you grew, and you realized that she is actually just average size, a tall average. She's 5'5" and a quarter inches tall, but there's a presence she has about her that fills everything around. For as small as she is, for as average size as she is, there's a vitality about her that refuses to go unnoticed.
Dizzy will stand there biting the inside of her lip, trying to keep her shit together.
Oh, and she takes a step, then another, and before you know it, her crushing embrace is all about Dizzy. While she's felt stronger, while she's dealt with stronger, while she's dealt with more crushing ability, there's something undeniable about the heat, warmth, the feel of her body against yours, the very real passion she has, not only for life, but for her children. And in that brief moment of immediate contact, they come pouring out of her. And
so what's happened?
You know, Dale is very, very buttoned up and thinks he can take on the world. She looks back at him laying in bed, and despite his actual large size, he is a large, healthy man. There's something a hair weaker. There's a lack of vitality, and you're sure that it's mostly to do with the fact of your environment, but there is a clear weakness there. She swallows hard, slipping her hand into yours. Let's talk outside. Doctor said that he would be in and out because of what they gave him to help him relax, and they put him on blood thinners. You think that's gonna be okay? I've been trying to look for him, but there's so many side effects that they say are possible. Anyway, let's talk outside.
All right. She'll take a step towards her brother and Say, so don't die for, dude.
His lips twitch as if even sleep, and as doped as he is with the medicines coursing through his veins, he can hear her.
And then I'll go out in the hall with good old Mom.
As you step into the hall, your mother slips her hands into her sweater pockets and moves a hair's breadth further from the door in line so that she can see into the room, but far enough where her voice won't carry just any off chance. He called me and said, Mom, I think I'm having a heart attack, which is very much unlike him. You know, he's like all of these kids running around with his day planner and his Motorola, his call it Palm Pilot or whatever it is. But he rarely ever calls. It's always a text or a skip or a face clock or whatever it is that he's doing. And he called. And you know me, I don't pry. I try not to. I really do. I know you don't think that based on how you grew up. But I really try not to pry. I really try to give you all your space, even as kids. But I couldn't help it. So I was looking through his phone, and while I thought he was just involved with trading, it seems as if he is involved with an insurance company, a Nash fire remediation company. And he got a very nasty, here I'll show you. And she pulls his phone out of her pocket and hands it to Dizzy. Just scroll. I was reading them a moment. I was rereading them looking for any clues or anybody I can reach out to talk to, but there's nothing that there's not even any numbers there. There's just the name Nash Fire Remediation. Looking through the message that came through, there is a significant amount of personally character assassinating information. We know you were at massage parlor, and then they list the days. We know that your company, in association with Nash, has been involved in fraudulent claims. Insurance fraud would cause you to lose your license. And then there's a list of homes throughout the city. And they go on and on and on. And it's being forwarded through the contact information, being they either had access to the phone or they spoofed the number. But it is definitely career-ending threats.
All right, she's gonna, being a little more tech savvy than her mother, she's gonna dig into that a little bit. She's gonna say, "Can I keep this for a little bit?"
I don't think Dale would mind. What is there something there?
There might be.
We can call.
There might be. I might be able to dig something up here.
Well, when he wakes up, I'll tell him that you stopped by. I know you're very busy and you can't stay long, but it means so much that you were here. You're always my strongest child, despite as many heroics as your brother got up to. And, I love you to the moon and back. And she throws her arms around you.
Yeah, she'll definitely return the gesture there. So I have a friend down in the waiting room. I don't know if we can get her up here or whatever, but I've kind of cleared my schedule for the evening. I mean,
Okay, that's perfect. And she moves into the room, reluctantly breaking the hug and trying not to pull you by your hand into the room, but fails. And she begins pulling out pillows from the closet, an extra blanket, and is he cute? Well, how long have you known this friend? I'm just jumping so far ahead. I'm sorry, honey. What I'll do is I'll step into the bathroom. You call the nurse and tell her that you would like your friend to come up. I'll wait until the nurse has approved it, and then I'll come back out, okay?
Sounds good.
And your mom moves into the closet, into the bathroom, pulling the door closed behind her for you to make your preparations. And if we can take not a full break, but a quick 5 minutes at this point, I do have to take care of one small thing, and we'll dive right back in, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, folks. Sorry about the delay. Everyone back?
Yep.
Izzy is settling in and calling security to the room so that Vivi might have access. Would you be so kind as to roll your charisma and persuasion or subterfuge, whichever is higher.
And is being pretty a factor?
Normally, yes, but not over the phone.
Fair enough.
Okay, then. With a little razzle-dazzle and the city shuffle, look left, lean right, Vivi is on their way to the room as Dizzy begins hanging up the landline in the searching of Dale's phone. It is clear to Dizzy, based on their passive technology rating, that the number was spoofed based on a contact, meaning that it was springboarded through a known number in Dale's phone, which means to Dizzy that Dale has done business with Nash or otherwise become entangled, probably more than likely tending to his accounting and trading needs. Dale has never struck her as someone who purposely entertains criminality, and there's a good chance that the threats and blackmail being leveled against him isn't his action directly, but in association with one of his contacts. But either way, the shit is falling and rolling downhill, and he's at the bottom of the pile. Also, in looking through Dale's phones, it's obvious that his current financial state could not take the hit of loss of employment. It is also clear that his financial state and or a deterioration of that would gravely impact Dizzy's mom as well as Jody, who is currently serving a 6 to 18th month sentence.
Jody or the brother?
Jody.
Because there was another brother too.
Yes.
All right, well, there are more important things at hand at the moment, but this is not the end of that, so.
Walking into the room, Vivi pauses, and as stoic as she has, there's a clear inkling of catching someone mid-change. Body's the body, but there's something personal and private about sharing that space, that time of someone changing and walking in on them unexpectedly. So as if, even if you've seen it, even if you have the same equipment and all of that, there's something private about that moment if you haven't been invited into it, if you're not in a space where that's natural, such as a locker room or what have you. But this is walking into someone's bedroom, walking into someone's house, and they were in the midst of changing. Completely a private moment that instinctually feels intruding upon. Looking from the bed, Dizzy, there's a curious, strange, maybe I shouldn't be here look that flashes across Vivi's face. But it's only there for a moment, and then she smiles. Oh my goodness, I can see why you get some. But if you're already so fair-haired, why didn't you? And she looks at Dale, resting there, as if he is, in fact, a model, as if he is someone to whom a natural, curious interest is. And only a portion of that is clearly physical. The bulk of it is clearly a connection to Dizzy. She doesn't ask, but if you had the opportunity, she probably would have several slew of questions.
So this is my brother in there somewhere.
She eases closer and looks from him to you, back, comparing, contrasting, making all of those myriad of connections.
Now, Dizzy only has a single dot in medicine, but is there anything she can tell from looking at him?
Single dot in medicine is first aid, triage. Like, it's a meatball operation, to say the least. A meatball understanding. How to stop what's inside from getting outside, how to keep things that should remain outside from getting further inside at its base. Luckily, in this day and age of immediate information and so many shows, books, magazines, TV, movies, you can track that O2 means oxygen levels. That's his pulse. That's his volume, i.e., how much is he maintaining, how much is actually circulating in the system. That's the stress that's happening with his heart. And you go down the list of the things that you recognize or that you can suss out from context clues. And without a shadow of a doubt, as Vivi begins looking at the chart by the door at the this is a minor cardiac incident brought on by stress. Between his job, him being a pillar for the family, and the threats of losing it, with the information that they tossed out in those texts is clearly enough to not only cause him to lose his job, but to potentially be blacklisted, to potentially drive him completely out of his career. And not that he's an old fogey who's set in his ways, but having spent the last few decades doing a singular thing and clawing his way through the ranks, there's very little chance that he'd have to do similarly in another field.
So, what do you think? She says to me.
I think I'm surprised that this is his first time. With the way the markets have been and these levels, he would have mandatorily retired from the service.
So I have another brother and another sister, but they kind of suck. And then I'm, obviously no prize either. So he has all that to deal with too.
We will have to talk about your family, Chica. And as of right on cue, when she says we have to talk about your family, your mother steps out of the bathroom, drying her hands. Oh, when you said friend, I did make an assumption I probably shouldn't have. Hi. She takes another step forward, presenting her hand to Vivi, much like one would a rifle for inspection. I'm Tawny. I know you met my daughter, and this is Dale. And she moves to the bed, daubing his forehead and pulling the covers more firmly up around him, tucking them underneath his arms to keep them warm. Hi, I'm Vivi. I'm Dizzy's friend. And as the looks are exchanged and your mother tries to suss things out and add things up, clearly based on pop culture psychology and pop information, all of the many bombardments of ideals, ideologies, and the like, we turn our gaze towards Melinda. Are you back?
I am. I noticed that Hestia was gone. When did that happen?
Yes, they are. Hestia is currently in the midst of a environmental emergency. They are moving towards safety, and we hope for the best for them and know that they will be safe. We have every faith. But speaking of safety, as you check out Faye's and Stella's apartment, as you make your way back through the other unoccupied 3 in the very large kitchen and meeting area, and there's actually a full-fledged out deck bar. There is glaring sign. There is no way in the absolute imagination of the world that these 2 girls should be paying anything less than an eye tooth, an arm, a leg, a piece to even wait in the foyer of the condo, let alone have access to all 4 bedrooms, full service kitchen, new appliances. It defies logic. There's loving, and this is clearly something else in regards to that scale of understanding. There is no way.
Remind me, who did you say your cousin, what was his name?
Well, he's one of the Tories. We have a really big family. He is, like I said, second or third cousin. I forget which one.
What was his name?
She gives you a name that sounds, unfortunately, too Melinda's more European and non-American. It sounds stereotypically Italian. Sounds like something she's heard in a movie or seen on a TV show or glimpsed in some novel somewhere.
How did you meet him?
He's my cousin.
Oh, yes.
Are you okay?
No, yeah. No, I'm just thinking, like, because, like, Melinda is thinking. Melinda knows that that traditionally the toreadors of this city are like investigators, right?
Investigators, not so much. There is a strange aspect to the toreador in the Midwest. You'd easily pick up on it in El Paso, how they were literally at most of the big happenings. They had someone or spoke with someone, or oftentimes were in the crowd of looky-loos when things were going wrong. Here, it's not so much as having to be physically present, but there is definitely that, with lack of a better word, always watching feeling. Teresa, can I just go ahead and roll your intelligence and either investigation or streetwise?
Streetwise or what?
Investigation.
Okay. Okay. 6, 2.
Alrighty. There's a saying with most companies, especially those in the service industry, new eyes see clear. They may not be aware as to what it is that they are seeing, but they will definitely see all of the small, fiddly, timey-wimey bits that don't properly align with either the mission or the vision statement or the training that they've received thus far. And so the idea is to, for lack of a better word, have new hires red team the store or the location. They go in looking for ways and areas that could be improved, and their opinion is taken as honest gospel because they haven't had time to enmesh themselves in the political relationships or anything of the like. Melinda's much the same way when it comes to the city as a whole. And in the few moments, a few eye blinks of time that she has been present near DuSable in accordance with associating with the Clan of the Rose, the Sensates, there is, combined with her information from El Paso, there is definitively an organizational structure beneath all of the pomp and circumstance. If she was not so conspiracy minded, if she had not had the experiences she did in El Paso before Theist, the Knights of St. Leopold, the Society of Leopold, if not for Sash and the like, sweeping the city, she more than likely would have looked into it there. Just hoping that it was just particularly an El Paso thing, but it was not, clearly. The very real storming the gates that DuSable did as distraction during the meeting, the very real manner in which they conduct themselves when they believe no one is paying attention. There is 100% not merely a group of cliques, not just a small group of associates, ties of prestitation. There is a full-fledged organization at work. To what end, she is not sure, but she is 100% positive that that is in fact the case.
He is going to Dizzy.
You're going to text Dizzy?
And say something is about like she's going to sneak herself into the bathroom, to like clean up. So Faye doesn't see her since there's something. And say something's off about this, about F and S. And
as you are sending that text from the 4th bedroom's bathroom, there is the unmistakable scent that magic has. Blood sorcery, the thaumaturgy carries with it a scent, carries with a charged ion-like field about it. It's permeating like incense throughout the entirety of the restroom. There's a feel that it leaves behind, a residue with ether in the air. And Melinda's nose is punched by that scent, by that feel, that thrum of energy rolling along her skin.
I am going to use Sense the Unseen.
Okay. Well, piercing the veil between this world and all of the many worlds that connect is often a heavy thing. It often reveals and illuminates things that saner minds would seek to escape. Bracing herself for the absolute worst, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll Wits plus Auspics? Okay. So preparing for sights that, or understanding that would lay most people low, that would fracture their grip on reality. Melinda places both hands over her eyes, summons her inner strength, and moves her hands as her eyes gloss over. They become, for lack of a better word, dead. The glaucoma of the color fading from her eyes takes hold, and everything becomes grayer, deader, less vibrant. And while she can't decipher what it is that she's specifically seeing, there is a shadow-like pall holding place over the restroom. There, as she crouches to get closer and take in more of the scent of it, to figure it out, to find its cause, there is a chill that grows stronger and stronger as she crouches near the commode. Looking about it, there's a powdery substance that has a hint of pale light illuminating from it. And as she stands, sitting there on the tub's edge, is a gentleman in a fishnet shirt. He's wearing a green or tan-ish green long coat. He has no pants, and he's wearing a striped Speedo with mid-calf boots on. And on every finger, there's a bit of jewelry, a fob of this, a bent snake, the like. And he meets your eyes and smiles. And when he smiles, the thinnest cat-like canines slip down into space.
Hello.
You look delicious. And then he fades. Or more accurately, it's as if he melts into the tub and disappears.
I'm not going to type that all out, but she texts Dizzy that description of of the person she just saw and what had just happened. Like a full description, and did he look like a Nosferatu?
No, not at all. He looked actually quite handsome. If on the scuzzy side, he definitely had the heroin chic thinness about him. He definitely looked as if he would be a raver or a party kid, or hell, even just a theater scene kid. There's a predatory whip thinness about him.
He already left? Or seemed to have left?
Yes.
She then would text that to Lucio because it is his sister's apartment. And she is going to leave the bathroom, and just before she meets up, rejoins Faye, she's going to drop Sense the Unseen. Looks a little freaked out, and says,
Are you all right? You look like you've seen a ghost. Are you having issues? I have some pain pills. If you really want to go that way, though, I found for like when that comes on me, that a little smoke definitely helps.
Oh no, I'm fine. I've already had it. What time is it, storyteller?
Not long after sunset.
Okay. No. What kind of check would I need to make? What would I need to make to see if Melinda could figure out what exactly that guy did?
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, would you be so kind as to roll intelligence and occult?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone believes that kindred don't have souls, and usually there's not enough left by the time they've lived a 5-6 decade life. Hell, if they make it to 100, there's usually not enough left of their honest to goodness self, their honest to goodness soul, for there to be any residual energy, for there to be anything that lingers behind. It is clear that the fraction of a thing that she saw was in fact as close to a kindred having a full soul as she has ever been. There's a natural disagreement between the living and the dead. There's greed, there's avarice that exists on both parts, because if you could have the knowledge of everything that's happening all at once, or if you had the ability to go wherever you wanted, or worse, if you could combine the two to have one foot in the Shadowlands and one foot in the real world and be able to accumulate all the knowledge of both, it is a very tempting, very beneficial state of affairs. However, that doesn't happen. And it's not one thing that kindred usually have the even access to. When a kindred meets their final death, that's it. That's over. There's no place for them. There's not enough of them left for there to be a place. In fact, one of the many things that the warlocks know is that when kindred descend into whitehood, they become magnets for the things on the outside. They become carriers of angry spirits who want access back to the living in any way possible. In the moments where they fail to hold on to enough of themselves to remain as animalistic furies, the spirits which stick to them like fleas to a mangy dog often possess the kindred's body. So having a kindred soul floating or profligating in the Faye and Stella's bathroom is as close to a harbinger of outright abject evil as one could. Because there's the idea of good, evil, humanity, beast is foreign to most spirits. Once you cross over, there's only the need or want of the warmth of life, even more so than with kindred. And she is sure what she just saw was a fraction of a kindred soul left haunting the young lady's restroom, which makes the dust that she felt and found the last bits of what that kindred was.
She doesn't like this. You know what, Faye, forgive me, is Lucio your brother or Stella's?
Well, in actuality, he's actually just Stella's brother, but we grew up together, me and Stella and Lucio, before he went off and tried to become a big bad superhero.
Wasn't the three of us go out somewhere. Get to know each other.
What? You do realize that this doesn't happen. Like, we don't. Like, I don't know about you, but I actually grew up. Lucio and Stella are great and all, but this is like prime view. We can literally sit in the front room window and watch all of the folks, no offense, like kind of look like you, but maybe a little more vain, who party across the street. And the things that we've seen, you would not believe. And Stella doesn't want to admit it, but I honestly think that like Lucio and Arsenio really are what they seem to be. I think they really are like, hey, I paint houses or I work in construction. You know, I really think they are. I wouldn't insult them and tell them, but I really do think that they are mobsters. Really, honestly.
Mobsters?
Yeah, have you seen how Lucio is always packing heat? And Arsenio thinks that I'm just slow, and I did notice that he put that holster underneath, and she walks back to his jacket and moves his jacket, showing that there in fact is a slim in-pants holster pocketed on his inside pocket of his blazer.
Excuse me, I've only been in Chicago a couple of days. Who is Arsenio?
The guy that's in there with Hestia doing God knows what. I can't call her Hestia. She can't hear me now. But Miss Green and Arsenio's driver. I mean, Lucio's driver.
Ah, I see. Stella wouldn't know how to deal with the vampire evil soul in the bathroom, would she?
No, you can always work to do an exorcism, and depending on tools and access to materials, you could do set up a ward order to prevent such things from happening. It would take time. It would take. There wouldn't be a disguising what she was doing for anyone remotely in the know, and it would definitely stand out as weird for the average person. But it is something that is within Melinda's wheelhouse to do.
Do I have the Regent's number?
You do have ways to contact Chicaago.
She is going to just quickly get that emotion, getting in touch with him, and say, if I can, I need to swing by. I have a project I need to work on.
The Chancellor is always open to good upstanding men. Why don't you make sure you swing by when you have the opportunity?
Thank you. So, have you two seen anything interesting? I'm from Germany, but I lived many years in Czech, in Prague. We're moving to San Antonio.
No, I've lived in Chicago all my. You know, one thing is as good as another, I suppose, and kind of learn where all the bad things are happening. And as she says, you learn where all the bad things are happening. We turn our gaze back to Dizzy, who is settled in with Vivi and her mother. And surprisingly, there's a similarity in strength. And while Vivi is considerably more stoic in presenting that strength or presenting much of anything to pin her down or to figure her out, Mama Dizzy is the antithesis to stoic. Her blank face is her studying you. Her lack of presenting any information is because she hasn't decided who and what you are. But as Dizzy has introduced Vivi as a friend, Mama Dizzy is very curious as to who her M has been associating with. And she's doing everything she can to not buy into the popular information that she's been being bombarded with. So how long have you two known each other?
She's totally just my friend, Mom.
Oh no, I didn't assume. She's cute. She is right here. You're cute. You have a, in my day you'd be a ripe tomato. You look just great, honestly. The baggy clothes, I guess that's your thing, honey. You guys are all like, your generation is all covering themselves up or showing too much skin. Like, there's no middle ground. Like, you guys are, you two are beautiful young ladies, and well, there's nothing wrong with showing it off. God knows, if 30 years younger, or hell, even at this rate, probably 20 years younger, I definitely would be wearing something that would be more flattering. And you two are hiding behind hoodies and slouchy pants, and I don't know. Like, if you guys have it, you should flaunt it a little bit more. Please, I thought. And I'm not saying go slut yourselves out. I'm just saying it's okay to take some pride in how you look. So you're saying that my hoodie, my sweatpants? Oh, well, the sweatpants, maybe they could be a little slimmer, but yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I think you all should dress more your age, more taking some pride in what God has given you guys. You hide all the time.
It's just easier.
Now we know that if it's easy, it probably isn't what you should have. But I understand. I'm sorry. I don't want to overstep. It's just, and she pats Dale. It's just, I think that, appreciating what we have while we have it is it's just, it's late. Yeah, I'm normally with my feet up and watching a little TV. Did you know that Joey from Friends has a new show?
I did not.
He does. He's playing an old man. Well, older. He's still not as old, but he definitely is playing an older man.
Is he still dumb?
No. He's actually one of the smarter people on the show, though he doesn't get credit for it. Why is that the new thing with everyone discounting everybody else's intelligence? I mean, you don't really have to be smart in this day and age. Everybody does the whole Googling everything, or the looking in the face and asking friends. Don't even need to be smart, and yet everyone pretends that other people are dumber than they are.
I mean, he was the dumb one on that show, Mom.
Well, yes, but that was also before Google. It was also at the burgeoning of the internet, but it's just one of those. I don't know. Like, people have this overinflated sense of self. If everything that makes you smart can be taken away if you lose power to your house, are you really that smart?
I mean, to a degree, we all know that you can lead a horse to water, but it won't stop his stupid ass from drowning himself.
True, I suppose. Your brother took me horseback riding about 2 years ago. We went up to this little suburb north of the city. It's called Schaumburg, and they have these horse stables. It was a nice place. It was a nice time. I wish you and your friend had been there. It would be nicer.
Yeah, I wish that too.
So, you don't think those messages are true, do you?
I don't think they are, but I mean, I've been gone. I haven't been around. I don't know what Dale's into, and it's not like he's going to tell me, so.
I can't say that makes me happy. Just the idea of them being true.
I mean, it's not really in his character, but I don't know. I mean, we've kind of all drifted apart. I got my thing. Everybody's got their things. I'm going to find out, though.
She silently nods and settles into the chair. It's not quite like a puppet with their strings cut, but there's definitely some deflation. The idea that she has to consider that maybe Dale isn't the shining knight that she thought. There's a chance he isn't for lack of a better word. And you can imagine her on several occasions talking to her priest or her psychologist about how Dale is the good one. He's always been to try to be the good one. He's always been the one who has pushed himself to be the responsible, the upstanding one, to be the one who ensured that everybody else was okay.
I mean, he's the good kid, Mom. I mean, it's a lot of pressure, I guess, to take care of all of us by himself, you know. He would do what he had to do that. So I want to think the best of him, but I understand where maybe some of the worst is true. I'm hoping it's not. Like I said, I'm going to find out.
No, I know hard decisions have the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And that's the part that worries me. Always had the best intentions. So maybe there was an express elevator for him, like one minor thing that made everything else possible. A linchpin that made doing even a fraction of that probable or worse than possible. Definite.
Well, it sucks that I have to be here to say it now, but I don't think I'm going back out on, walkabout. So I'm going to do better. I'm going to take some of this burden off of him. And with that, she'll kind of shoot Vivi a glance for a moment.
Vivi is good. She's good at keeping her counsel and letting too much flash across her face. But as you make contact with Vivi, who is silently taking in the exchange, who, unlike her private self that Dizzy has had the opportunity to see, isn't vouchsafing, isn't making any of the many dismissive looks that she's seen and grown accustomed to. The silent communication that says so much more with a flick of a gaze or a raise of a brow. It's like twist of a lip. None of that is there. But all the same, Dizzy can read Vivi not only surprised but hopeful. It's almost as if for the first time their missions have aligned, avenging, protecting their families, even if it means not being with their family. It's, for Vivi, a clearly before and after moment. Because what she's been after this entire time, what she's been pursuing this entire time, has been a way to find, and if not find, avenge her brother.
If you want to get some rest, I can sit with him for a while.
Your mom nods, looks towards Vivi. If you're not here when I wake up, it's nice meeting you. I'm glad M has a friend. Even if you two dress like you don't shave and you don't use deodorant, and she pulls a blanket over her lap and leans back in the recliner, which actually leans nearly almost completely flat, but it just raises her feet for now. And she leans back, pulling the blanket more firmly across her. Much like Dizzy during her living days, Mama Dizzy is out like a light. This time, more securely, instead of the dozing she was doing when Diz first arrived. It is as if there is a sentry, as if there's a guard, as if security and safety is suddenly here in this dramatic moment of having to be in a hospital room. Her bright and shining night of a sun, as if when Dizzy arrived, there was a balancing, as if a watch was being kept.
So yeah, that's my mom. She's asleep, but she can hear a window crack open at 4 a.m. with the best of them, believe me.
Chica, you had family here this whole time?
I mean, not the whole time. I mean, they moved here a couple years ago, but...
In this holy mission you're thinking of for your mother, what did your brother do?
He's something with stocks. I don't know if he's exactly a broker or something to do with this, the stock exchange here. I don't really understand what he does, but he moves money around and keeps some of it for himself. But like in a legal way, not the way that we're, I guess, more accustomed to now.
I see. Sounds like he's more connected with your friend Lucio than you. This Grecio you're talking about.
Possibly. He did when I met with him a couple months ago. He said something about he had some people that were kind of leaning on him, and I assume this is just an extension of that. So
you think he did it? He was dirty? Or maybe...
like I told Mom, I want to believe that he is the good guy, but it's a lot of pressure. I got one sister who's in jail and another brother who I don't even know what the hell he's doing. And then, I'm no prize either. So, and Dad died a couple years ago, and that just leaves, he's taking care of Mom. He's taking care of everything. He's kind of become the linchpin of the family. So it's a lot of pressure, financial and otherwise.
I'm sorry to hear that. That is not good news. But maybe we can dig him out. Maybe we don't have to come back here for him anymore, yeah? Well, not to the hospital.
Yeah, we need to work on that. I guess I should get a job or something, maybe.
No, with me having left where I was, I know that there's an open position.
Yeah, I don't think they would approve of my resume.
Do you even have one?
I worked at Jack in the Box for a couple of weeks before all this happened.
That is the most indirect way of saying that I have heard from you in a very long time.
I mean, in this world, it's not like you go punch a clock and do shit like that anymore. It's kind of, things are difficult.
Yeah, but not necessarily unworth it. So where would you like to start in regards to your brother? To either prove him pragmatic or prove him clean?
Well, assuming that he's clean, whoever's fucking with him needs to stop. And I am pretty good at making that sort of thing happen.
Excellent. Do you know who this is? Can we find him?
She holds up her brother's cell phone and waves it back and forth.
Okay. She breaks out her phone. Give me the number. I'll backtrace while you spam them and make them upset.
All right. So we will enact that plan.
And that being the case, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits plus technology? You get a +1 for Vivi attempting to help, and her background in counterintelligence and counterinsurgency and all of those nice, neat, nifty little things.
Specialty in phone supply as well.
Yes. That is... Fate has every intention of making Dizzy lose themselves in the effort. Let's see what result actually is. Alright. In the annoyance and low-level hacking and forcing the hand of those behind all of this, there is a horrendously all too familiar touch. It's not quite a signature, but there is a similarity of thought, a similarity of how they play the game that strikes Dizzy. The anger that is her blood right, the anger and annoyance that typically spurs those of her ilk onto greater and greater excesses of emotion stirs, and it is all that Dizzy can do to not crumple the phone and hurl it through the window, because while unskilled, well, not skilled enough at evading and hiding from both the combined efforts of Dizzy and Vivi, They are frustratingly dead end. The moment you have them in your sight, that line of thought, that line of information and connectivity dies. And so you strike up another vantage of attack and it just dies. There's all of these cellularly connected dead ends where they're able to disappear down a hole or cut off one, or you find that these numbers, while spoofed, a good portion of them keep dovetailing back to a number that dances on the tip of Dizzy's tongue, a phone number, a grouping of phone numbers that dovetail and circle around each other and come back. And is Dizzy going to attempt to keep from lashing out, or will she allow her emotions to?
Well, here in the ICU with her sleeping mother and her comatose brother is probably not the place to lose her shit.
And it's not, but, you know, if not now, then when? And if not Dizzy, then whom?
Maybe we make our way to the roof or something. Maybe we can get out of this area.
Security is not lax, but it doesn't take too long to figure out a nice little smoking area that most of the staff on various other shifts alight to. Not quite the roof, but it is a balcony that has complete access to the elements. And being 20 floors above the firmament below, it is as alone as you all probably be. And having snuck away,
she will try to compose herself and keep it together. And she's, historically been rather good at that. But, every time you roll the dice.
Let's see, does she know when to hold them? Would you be so kind to go ahead and roll that resolve and composure? No penalty, but also opponent.
That's an interesting combination of dice. It's like the inner war is right there in that roll.
It very much is. It is in any other iteration of the game that would have, any other iteration of the mechanics, that would have been only 2 successes. The battle would have been a raging one, and it would have been very, very close, but she would have lost. In this iteration, and with this mechanics, with the strength of her full-fledged attention to not destroy, to not rain havoc, to not tear apart and otherwise eviscerate the air and world around her, in her frustration, Dizzy breathes that lovely, clean, near high altitude. The street sounds like ants singing amongst themselves. Horns, the lights, the people. There's just a moment of peace as the wind picks up and knocking her hood off her head, rifling through her clothes as if it's attempting to make away with her freshly obtained bag of coins. There is a peace that she's able to latch onto and use it to calmly and methodically beat the beast, her aggression, all of her annoyances into a quiet corner. And speaking of quiet corner, as Melinda ends her attempt at communicating with the regent, reaching out directly to DeSable, one regent to another, how does she take her lead?
He gives Faye her phone number. I've greatly enjoyed our time together. We should speak again. Feel free to message me anytime. I'll see you at the Embassy Shelter.
Sure, of course. We're actually going to be there tomorrow and all the way to the weekend. This week's schedule sucks. And I know Sebastian. He's a cute little kid, but I think he has a heart for Stella. He hasn't worked up the nerve to say anything to her, but you can kind of tell.
Is he the one who does schedule?
Sebastian, he helps Donnell do the schedule, especially as of late. I think something happened, like, I don't know, 6, 7, 9 months ago, or something like that. There was like a huge gang fight in the shelter. Some of the homeless guys, they're not as safe as we let on. and one of the older guys that hangs around Mike got real messed up. Danielle got real messed up. Amalia, we were worried that she wouldn't be coming back to work at all. They said that she was so beat up that she couldn't even, you know how she's always walking around with that cigarette?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was supposedly so beat up that she though, which is weird because she was the first one to come back, and I haven't seen Mike yet since that. I also haven't seen Mr. Sorochi either. Well, you know, people move on, I suppose, and it's not really for everybody. It's hard putting it, you know, being in such close proximity. You know that you don't think anything of it. And I'm not a Starbucks girl, but just the price of a cup of coffee can make a huge difference. And you know, so many people who don't. Like, there was this girl in our early econ class who wouldn't even drink her coffee. She'd take pictures of it and then leave it on her desk until all the ice melted and making it a horrible drink. But yeah, she dropped down that $7 every morning before class, and then another $7 between class on the way to, because she was in some of our same classes, not just econ. So she was spending easily $20, maybe $24 on coffee. And you know how big of a difference that would have been for somebody at the shelter? And she was just throwing it away, not even actually even drinking it.
Melinda's like, privately, she's thinking, like, that sounds like a perfectly reasonable price to pay. You know, just because, like, the way she grew up, like, you know, with money and everything. So it's like, yeah, that sounds, you know, reasonable. You probably also would have spent that kind of money if Starbucks had been around in Germany in the 40s. But like, that's terrible, you know. I was like, you know, some people, you know, they don't realize immediately, you know, the reaction. I was like, a year from now, or even 10 years from now, you know, she might look back and be ashamed of that. And people learn in their own time.
Oh, there's a hope.
She is, what do you call? What I would do is.
So Melinda makes her way out of the apartment, having exchanged a little bit of wisdom with Faye.
Yeah, I was gonna say, she's like, if you really want to have some fun with them, find out some info about the shelter and just leave it around.
Of course, we'll do what we can.
And then she's like, yeah, goodbye. And then she leaves.
Making her way across town it's always surprisingly difficult when breaking out of Chicago, moving into even to the contiguous suburbs that dot the landscape, both north, south, east, and west. Most of the travel time in covering that small amount of distance, because for its expanse, Chicago is surprising. The city itself is surprisingly not as far-reaching as the name Chicagoland implies. Although, in travel, making it a few miles can be a trip that would take several hours, depending on the time, how many people were out and moving, and otherwise acting as impediments to getting to your destination. Taking an Uber to the Golgotha Chantry is surprisingly easy. It's almost as if most of the lights along your path hit green just as you guys are getting there. Most of the traffic seems to be flowing in your general direction out of the city. And it's not long before you find yourself at Golgotha Chantry. It's one of the chantries that you were escorted to on your tour of the Chantry property, so that you know where to alight for security, sanctuary, and the like. And the Golgotha is unlike the main Chantry in many ways. As a regent level Tremere, the information that you had been granted lets you know that this one of the main reasons why the Golgotha Chantry is different than most of the others is that it had operated for centuries as a prison, holding the most pernicious and otherwise problematic spirits and souls. There's recently been a prison break. The anchor that held them in bay, held them in place, had been stolen. And you know that anchor was a former crusader who had been given the gift of vampirism. And their blood, body, along with the Longinus spear, which is actually a portion of it, was used as an anchor to keep the wards adamantine. Both the spear and knight's body is missing. So the spears do what they do. Prisoners do what they do when the walls of the prison fall away. They make their way out into the world around them. And for the last few weeks and last bit of time, the Chantry members of note with skill in corralling spirits and otherwise, if necessary, and often being necessary, destruction of them have been busy. Literally every night, every resurrection eve, they've launched into battle against forces pernicious and multiplicitous. Luckily, this evening you arrive at the Chantry, and while the regent himself is unfortunately otherwise disposed, you have the lovely and impactful use and assistance of one of the highest ranking members of the Chantry, their head instructor, the warlock who has taught more members of the Chantry than even the regent himself. It is rumored that if not for the very real male-focused, male-dominated biases, that she would have been the regent instead of DeSable. Regent Cross. I'm Sylvia Rains. I've heard so much about your meteoric rise and unfortunate meteoric descent. I'm sorry that El Paso was so besieged. I'd hoped that we would have had more opportunity to speak, but you understand DeSable and his chaotic quest to kowtow favor with Hermit. But all the same, not spreading family business. What project, what did you believe you might need assistance of?
Well, I believe I found a missing prisoner in the home of a memory, in a home I was in today, right? And she describes the gentleman, and he seemed to sink into the tub, and this spirit was evil. I felt evil. I believe it's best to ward against further piss and eventually send these spirits off for the last.
Well, spirits specifically are not on my list of things because I didn't want to be stuck here as a warden, and you know that very well been the outlook and a way for them to bury me out of the limelight and not give me my just desserts. However, I believe that I have just the thing. There are several wards we can enact that would cause enough pain to either destroy the spirit's fetter and ties to this world, or at least keep it from having access to the living space. Now, I thought that you didn't have any familial connections here in the city. Was there a change? Did you find someone to protect?
It was Not my own. She's a member of my coterie.
Oh, I see. You've already found like-minded. That is commendable. Which coterie? Anyone I might know?
The regent put me with the hounds to use my skills to find a missing person.
Oh, okay. So this is just a temporary placement. He didn't attempt to have you permanently part of these group servants.
We'll see how it goes, but out of character, what is with that gift?
We have some history with Sylvia. Well, some of us do. Not me, but other members of the coterie.
Like solidarity. Well, I'm new, but right now it is good to foster good ties with the people you are working with.
It is not. It is 100% not. I was attempting to be polite and politic and make things as easy as possible. Of course, I'll help you. You are, and she rests both hands against your shoulder, a regent. You are. You earned this. Earned your rank, and to have it taken, you should at the very minimum be co-regent. After all, if Dusabo was as good as everyone believes, if he was living up to the legacy of his sire Nikolai, we wouldn't have lost the main chantry in Hyde Park. We wouldn't have had a phenomenally large jailbreak here in Golgotha. While I don't and didn't want the job of being warden here, at least I would have ensured that the person who was didn't allow such things to happen. I wouldn't have allowed the tensions amongst us to get so great that several of our members are still in torpor because of what took place here at this chantry, because of the loss of our main Hyde Park chantry. I've done everything I can to instruct, to teach, and provide lessons so that we as a whole can become strong. And what has Dusabo done? He's reached out to those who clearly didn't want to be party to us. He saved a position, a seat in the formation of the pyramid here in the city for this person. He allowed one of our strongest members to be accosted and done nothing about it. And now he is tying you to a group of kindred who by right, because of their attempt and clear eventual success, killed a primogen. And you aren't co-regent. You're not a praetor. You're not. It's just, it makes my heart hurt.
I gotta get out of Discord, out of character channel. This gifts. Will. Oh no! I'm enjoying them. I need you to post a slightly older boy now, like show this child growing older for my own amusement. This Will. It has been only 3 days.
Is that any excuse to disrespect your efforts?
I am saying I am patient, and I know, and one of the ways that I got what I was in El Corso was making sure I was the most valuable player in the room, and they have the clan has heard of me here. They have not seen me here. And once they have, most valuable person.
I understand. It doesn't anger you the same way I haven't as I have. When you get to the point where you understand how purposefully truncating the others can be, and how we have even sisters who have bought into male-focused ideology and who would stab either of us in the back, which happened to me. And this is not just hyperbole. I was attempting to help one of our members, and she attacked me. Her and her ghoul attempted to take my blood. If not for my friends, my allies that I'd made outside of the chantry, I very well, even to this day, be being used as a source of attack for her ritual. I just thank all of the gods above and below that she didn't attempt to diablerize me, that she didn't attempt to complete the amaranth using me as her stepping stone.
What was it?
I really don't want to gossip, but I will tell you, in your present company, you had best make sure that you keep all of your eyes, because they will turn on you. Specifically, I don't want to gossip. They may not attempt to betray you. Just don't let them know that you were a former regent and that you have more understanding of the greater mysteries than they do. So, about this ward.
Yes, this particular spirit is, regardless of feelings of coterie, I don't know. The city is much better if it's either locked away or destroyed.
That is something that we can do together. I happen to have, and she picks up her medical bag, I happen to have prepared a few things that we could use to create a wall that would keep it away. At least out of that particular area. Out of that home, maybe, depending on how big it is. So let's get back to your location, and we can set about beginning the ward to make sure that this spirit and most others will not have access to your friends. Okay?
Melinda is going to text Faye and say, she's going to text Dizzy and say, please call SNF and find an excuse to get them to leave the apartment.
And as you send that text, and Dizzy masters themselves and wins a war that hundreds, if not thousands of specifically would have lost to the efforts of the strength and damnation of their blood. Text arrives, as well as a battle plan of locations, of personages and businesses that Dizzy and Vivi know are specifically part of this blackmail ring, because that's what it is. It is a full-fledged, full-bore enterprise designed to divest others of their hard-won or stolen gains. And with those thoughts weighing heavily on both Melinda and Dizzy, I want to thank you all. It's been a lovely session. I'll post a few things more by post over the next few days, and I will see you all next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night.